I did a film with an absolute idiot of a co-star. And this human being was being so insecure and angry because this person couldn't get the scenes out. And I think I was so vulnerable and comfortable that I got screamed at. And I would cry walking off set. This person would literally look at me in front of the whole crew and say, "You call yourself an actor. This is what I have to work with. What is this?" And I stood there just breaking. This happens. But because this person was number one on a call sheet, there was no safety net for me. So no one had my back. And I remember the next day I walked on and I said, "You get off my set." It's the first time I've ever spoken. I remember being so scared. And I looked at this person and I said, "You can F off. I'm going to work towards a tennis ball. I never want to see you again." And then I remember the producers came up and said, "You can't do this to number one. We have to let this person be on set." And I said, "But the person can turn around and I can act to the..."
Sibs are coming forward in large numbers, alleging a massive fraud, reportedly involving Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. The accusations are escalating fast, with insiders from the Deadpool and Wolverine productions openly criticizing Reynolds for what they describe as controlling behavior on set. Cast and crew members claim he dominated every creative decision, shutting down ideas that didn't align with his personal vision. What Reynolds has publicly framed as collaboration is now being labeled by insiders as a strict my way or the highway approach. Fans are also turning on him, calling the behavior egotistical and shameless, and accusing him of betraying Hollywood's collaborative culture. Meanwhile, Blake Lively is facing renewed scrutiny as well, as old receipts resurface from 2018, showing she allegedly received an executive producer credit on The Husband's Secret, a move many say came out of nowhere. Independent designers are finally speaking out, some dating their claims as far back as 2014, accusing Blake Lively of lifting their designs and then disappearing without credit or acknowledgement. What once looked like a carefully curated power couple image is now unraveling fast. Honestly, if Netflix announced a true crime docuseries about this pair, no one would be shocked. And this isn't even the most explosive part yet. Their long-running feud with Justin Baldoni is just the appetizer. While Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have sold the world a squeaky clean love story, insiders insist the reality is far messier. Allegations of idea theft, broken promises, and calculated manipulation are surfacing, painting their relationship as more of a polished PR illusion than genuine authenticity. The image of the sweet wife and goofy husband is beginning to crack under pressure. Now, receipts are pouring in from creatives, industry insiders, and even former friends, revealing a far less flattering portrait of Hollywood's so-called golden couple. So grab your snacks and silence your phone, because this duo may not be Hollywood's dream team after all. Some are now calling them the industry's most petty and calculated players, and the mask they worked so hard to maintain is finally slipping. Blake Lively's controversial history stretches back years. Flashback to 2014, when she launched Preserve, a lifestyle website that was equal parts expensive and confusing. The site sold overpriced candles, awkward rustic decor, and bizarre handmade items that seemed to lack any real purpose. Even the articles explaining what Preserve was supposed to be felt vague and directionless. At its core, the brand appeared to be little more than a platform for selling overpriced hipster products to millennials. The project collapsed quickly. When Preserve shut down in 2015, Blake framed it as a venture that was simply ahead of its time, positioning herself as a misunderstood visionary. But behind the scenes, a different story began circulating. Allegedly, she placed sample orders under fake names from small creators, copied their designs, and then vanished. No credit, no follow-up, no explanation. And according to multiple sources, the timeline adds up. The site launched in July 2014 and was completely shuttered by October 2015. Blake later admitted to Vogue that Preserve had launched too early and never fulfilled its intended mission. She openly acknowledged that the brand failed to make any real impact, neither on a deep level nor even a superficial one. But if you think her alleged habit of quietly lifting ideas stopped with Etsy creators, think again. The next chapter shifts from handmade goods to Hollywood scripts. In 2017, Blake was attached to star in CBS Films' The Husband's Secret, and that's when the controversy began to surface. An independent writer came forward claiming her script had been circulating in Hollywood years earlier, only to later reappear, strikingly similar, as the very film Blake was now set to lead. Major entertainment outlets like Deadline, Variety, and The Hollywood Reporter never picked up the story. At the time, challenging A-list celebrities was rare, so it's not surprising the claims failed to gain traction. But here's where things get interesting. An old interview resurfaced in which Blake openly boasts about taking control of projects from producers and directors, framing it almost as a power move. Dig a little deeper, and it becomes clear she wasn't just acting in The Husband's Secret. She also secured an executive producer credit, an unusual move in Hollywood, especially for someone not originally attached to the project. In Hollywood, that title doesn't always translate to actual work. More often, it signals influence and status. And even if concrete proof remains limited, the pattern many point to feels uncomfortably familiar. Blake Lively has long carried a reputation for benefiting from other people's work without giving much in return, fueling growing public skepticism. You don't have to look far for examples. The Gossip Girl set is frequently cited as another situation where her off-screen behavior allegedly caused serious behind-the-scenes tension, while others took the blame. Take her relationship with co-star Penn Bagdy. From the very beginning, Blake was reportedly speaking negatively about him off-camera, persuading others to distance themselves, not because he had done anything wrong, simply because she didn't like him. It reportedly took weeks for the rest of the cast to realize Penn was actually a decent professional guy, but by then, the damage was already done. Ironically, Blake and Penn went on to date for 3 years, and when that relationship ended, she moved on to Ryan Reynolds with little hesitation. Things only grew more complicated after that. Following Blake's marriage to Ryan and her rise in favor with powerful producers, Justin's career allegedly stalled. Coincidence or consequence? Many industry insiders suspect it wasn't accidental, suggesting he may have been quietly sidelined after falling out of Blake's good graces. If that sounds familiar, it's because a similar pattern has been alleged in the It Ends With Us controversy involving Justin Baldoni. When Justin leaked heated messages allegedly exchanged with Blake, fans speculated she had developed feelings for him. When those feelings weren't returned, critics claim she retaliated like a scorned ex. Since then, Blake's co-stars on the project, including Brandon Sklenar and even author Colleen Hoover, have noticeably kept their distance. And the Gossip Girl drama doesn't stop there. Let's talk about Leighton Meester. On screen, Blake and Leighton played inseparable best friends. Off-screen, however, multiple reports describe their relationship as tense, distant, and cold, completely at odds with the chemistry audiences saw.
Article recently saying that Leighton and I were frenemies. And it's
frenemies. Is that the new term? Frenemies?
Yeah, we're friends, but we're also enemies. And it's they see our characters on the show, and they want that to be true in a sense. I think they want everybody's characters in real life to emulate that. And it's really strange because they always want to pit women against each other. You don't hear about like Penn and Chase hating each other and being jealous and competitive. So it's very silly. But you know, we all do.
One thing about Blake is that she knows exactly when to play the gender card, especially when it serves her narrative. According to executive producer Joshua Safran, while Blake and Leighton Meester were technically friends during Gossip Girl, the reality behind the scenes was far from warm. In Hollywood, that usually signals serious underlying tension. And if you've ever watched their joint press interviews, the discomfort is impossible to ignore. The awkward energy practically jumps off the screen.
When you're watching a show, that there's not an obvious choice between good and evil, so she would seem like the obvious choice, but she's also got, you know, flaws as well. But I think I'm just brunette because of the books.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
Over there.
Moment by me.
Then there's Armie Hammer, who played Gabriel on Gossip Girl. While he never directly named Blake, his abrupt departure from the show raised plenty of eyebrows. He didn't throw open shade, but the implication was clear. Something behind the scenes pushed him to leave earlier than expected. And according to those familiar with the situation, many believe Blake was the driving force behind that quiet but sudden exit.
Let me just say, that was a tough show to film, and I didn't end up actually filming all of the episodes I was supposed to because it was such a tough film.
Really? Literally, you said, get me out of this.
It was also like, get him out of here. Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it just literally was that. Whose love interest were you?
I was Blake Lively's love
You
interest.
were?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Sounds
then
like
if-
she was the problem.
And honestly, at this point, is anyone even surprised by Blake's long list of diva moments? Her rumored feud with Anna Kendrick deserves its own spotlight. The press tour for A Simple Favor was nothing short of a spectacle. The tension between them was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. What was meant to be playful promotion quickly turned into a subtle Cold War, and fans were fast to pick up on the painfully awkward energy.
Like a few times through Ryan on that film. And thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
Yeah. Look at the body language experts analyzing this right now. How quickly do you...
Don't touch me.
One of the producers even revealed that Blake was nearly impossible to work with during A Simple Favor, and, true to form, Blake flipped the narrative, accusing Anna Kendrick of trying to steal the spotlight during the press tour. The public response? A collective eye roll, because the insecurity was impossible to miss. If you want the full breakdown of how Anna handled that situation with grace, there's an entire deep dive on it. But for now, here's the takeaway. Blake's diva behavior isn't new, and the receipts have been stacking up for years. And trust me, we're nowhere near the wildest part yet, because while Blake's skeletons are falling out one by one, Ryan Reynolds' closet is just as packed with controversy. From quiet Hollywood power plays to questionable behind-the-scenes dealings, the floodgates are finally opening. And now, some familiar faces who stayed silent for years are ready to talk. Let's start with Tim Miller, the original director of Deadpool. He's gone on record saying he left the franchise specifically because of Ryan Reynolds. So if you thought Ryan was just the lovable, goofy guy he plays on screen, think again. Tim paints a very different picture. According to him, Ryan took over Deadpool like it was his personal playground, treating the director more like a sidekick than a creative partner. Insiders say Ryan wanted control over everything: the script, the scenes, the tone, all of it. And the moment Tim pushed back, Ryan reportedly adopted a strict my way or the highway approach. Eventually, Tim had enough. In an interview, he explained, "I don't mind a debate, but if I can't win, I don't want to play," adding that it's impossible to negotiate every single creative decision. Translation? Ryan wasn't willing to budge. As the face of the franchise, Ryan had Hollywood firmly behind him. When he demanded control, no one stepped in to stop it. Tim saw where things were heading and chose to walk away because what was left to fight for when every move was being blocked? And here's the real kicker. Tim Miller wasn't alone. TJ Miller, who played Weasel in Deadpool, didn't just quietly exit the project. He made it very clear exactly why he was done working with Ryan Reynolds. If you want, I can...
Like, why is Ryan doing this? And the other weird thing is, like, maybe he got, I think he's kind of an insecure dude. He's really nice, but, I mean, his Twitter bio is showing you the parts of me that tested the best in focus groups. And I'm not sure that he's joking. I think after he got super, super famous from the first Deadpool, then things kind of changed. I think he was like, see, you guys see. And then I think I don't know. I mean, would I work with him again? No.
No,
I would not work with him.
If you know anything about TJ Miller, you know he's not exactly the quiet type. Unlike Tim Miller, who exited Deadpool without much noise, TJ came in loud and with receipts. He's openly said he'd rather walk away from a massive paycheck than ever work with Ryan Reynolds again. And yes, according to him, it really is that serious. TJ claims Ryan didn't just treat him poorly on set, it was outright disrespect. Not playful banter, not inside jokes, just public humiliation. The wildest part? TJ says he never even understood why Ryan seemed to have it out for him in the first place. He wasn't a lead, he wasn't competing for attention, so what was the issue? After reflecting, TJ concluded it all came down to ego. Ryan needed everyone to remember exactly who the star was, even if that meant putting others down. And if you think Ryan's behavior only affected his male co-stars, think again. His on-screen love interest, Marina Baccarin, wasn't spared either. She played Vanessa front and center in the first Deadpool film, but by the sequel, her presence was dramatically reduced. And no, insiders say that wasn't just a random creative decision. Rumors strongly suggest Ryan had a hand in it. Behind the scenes, their working relationship reportedly deteriorated. After that, Marina wasn't just sidelined in the story, she was effectively iced out. The exact reason remains unclear. Some claim she pushed back on a joke that crossed a line. Others say she questioned why her role kept shrinking. Either way, one pattern stands out. Challenging Ryan on his own set allegedly comes with consequences. When Deadpool and Wolverine promotions began rolling out, Marina was noticeably absent. Even at the premiere, she arrived alone while the rest of the cast clustered around Ryan. The silence was loud. Honestly, the entire situation gives major "it ends with us" energy all over again. When a power couple runs the room, you either play along or you get pushed out. And Ryan's behind-the-scenes reputation doesn't stop with Deadpool. Reality stars have their own stories, too. When the Jersey Shore cast appeared of Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, they were asked the classic question, who's the rudest celebrity you've ever met? Most guests dodge it, but not that night. Sammy, Sweetheart, tried to keep things polite, but Dina went full honesty mode and dropped Ryan Reynolds' name without hesitation. She attempted to walk it back, saying he wasn't great to us, but I still love Ryan and Blake. Let's be real, if you have to add that disclaimer, the damage is already done. Sammy tried to smooth things over, suggesting maybe Ryan was just having a bad day. But moments like that raise questions about whether Ryan's squeaky clean online persona actually holds up in real life. And it's not just veteran actors or reality TV stars. Even rising A-listers have shared horror stories, some so disturbing they won't even name names. Instead, they describe the behavior and let the public connect the dots. Case in point, Rebecca Ferguson. She once spoke about a nightmare co-star who made life on set unbearable. She never named him, but her description was brutal. According to Rebecca, this person constantly forgot their lines, then took out their frustration on her, screaming in front of the crew and casually calling her a terrible actor. Rebecca admitted she left set in tears more than once, but she didn't stay silent forever. One day, she snapped, telling the co-star to get off her set and saying she'd rather act opposite a tennis ball than deal with that kind of toxic behavior. Iconic. After the interview went viral, actors across the industry, including Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, showed public support. Even former co-stars reached out, admitting they had always suspected something wasn't right.